Welcome to another edition of Driving with Miranda. This week I have the 2025 Genesis G70 3.3T Sport. This is a gorgeous luxury vehicle. We're going to have a look at its exterior design, all the interior amenities, and then talk a little bit about the drive and what makes a Genesis and why it rivals the Europeans the way that it does. So let's address the pseudo elephant in the room. A lot of you might not know who or what Genesis is, and that's fine. For starters, it was just a model within the Hyundai lineup. Hyundai being a Korean manufacturer, they had their sporty two-door Genesis Coupe, and a few of us knew that. A few of us got to drive it. It was a wonderful car. In 2004, that was all they had in their lineup. However, in 2015, they announced that Genesis was going to become independent. They were going to separate Genesis from the Hyundai brand and make it their luxury offshoot. So I want you to think like Honda Acura, Nissan Infiniti, not so much BMW M or Mercedes AMG because it's not just a tuning factory house, it is their luxury version of. So let's say Volkswagen Audi, if that helps you understand what Genesis is. But they solely exist on their own now. And since they've been on their own, it's been really quite good for them. Their very first model was the G90 in 2017. And from that moment on, they have only gone upwards from that first model. They've proven themselves to be not only luxurious and well made, but nice to drive. In the recent years, they've really gone towards EV and plug-in and hybrids, and it shows, and they really do rival the Europeans. And I'm going to show you why. So now that you know a little bit more about where Genesis has come from, let's see where they are now. So from the very beginning, their look has been very sleek, a really nice silhouette, smooth lines, and truthfully, when I drive these, no matter what it is, be it a sedan or an SUV, I get looks all the time. And I get it. Truthfully, the symbol looks a little bit like a Bentley symbol, so it can be confusing, but there's just a luxurious presence about it, and I really, really like their feeling on the road, their stance, the way they sit, not overly muscular, not too many harsh lines or creases, but just enough to give it that personality, which is just what it needs as a luxury vehicle. It needs to stand out, not be too much, but at least you want to have that somebody turn their head twice. And the Genesis lineup definitely does that. Truly, Genesis have taken this brand and these vehicles to a whole other level of look and feeling on the road. And from the very beginning, they've meant business. And it's very clear from the rim design to the exposed brake calipers to just everything about these vehicles. Like I said, they catch the eye on the road, and they really should. So if you thought the exterior of the G70 was really nice, wait until you see the inside. This thing is opulence. Now, I know it's not the Range Rover that I had a few weeks ago, but it's pretty close. I love the diamond quilted interior. You know what? In the red leather, it is sumptuous, especially against the gray exterior color. Everything in this car is in the right place, where it should be, easy to access, really nice touch feel for all of the materials. It's comfortable, and you realize why it has the price tag that it has. You know, like 65,500 to start, it's worth it. You get all of these things. You get all the amenities. You get, you know, the 12.3-inch 3D digital cluster. Yes, I said 3D. So you can change it to not be 3D because it can be disconcerting in some stages. But if you want it to be 3D and look really cool, you can do it. You know, you get a 10.25-inch touchscreen in the middle. You get heated front and rear seats. It is Napa leather seating throughout. You get a 15-speaker Lexicon sound system, easy, super easy hookup for Apple CarPlay, for Android Auto, all the things. This vehicle is luxury. And when I say it rivals the Europeans, I really do mean it. You know, it's not just a poser. It's not just here to be like, hey, here's an option. No, it's here to say, here's an option that's actually might be better than the Europeans. And they are new to the game in terms of being a luxury brand, but don't push them aside. Check out Genesis, see what they have to offer, and you will see they are as good, if not better, in terms of their build quality, in terms of the comfort, in terms of the amenities, and everything that you get inside. It is well worth looking at the Genesis brand. One of the nicest things about the Genesis G70 is really that everything is at hand. So, whether that be climate controls or volume controls, it's all right there. And yes, I know there is a very large 10 plus inch touchscreen in the middle. However, one of the most amazing features in this Genesis is the fact that it also has buttons. So yes, you can do everything on the touchscreen. If you'd like to be fancy and of the moment and use all those things, you can. However, if you're like me and you just want to know where the button is while you're driving, you can reach over and touch those buttons. Be it for climate control, be it for entertainment, be it for maps, be it for setup, anything at all. They're all there. So you have that option. Same thing for your drive modes. So in this vehicle, there is intelligent drive mode set up. So you've got comfort, eco, sport, and custom. So each one kind of plays with the suspension, plays with the drive response, plays with the throttle response. With the eco, obviously it dampens the throttle response, so you're not gonna go as quickly off the line as you would normally in normal mode or not even in sports. And of course, in that sport mode, everything is a little bit quicker, it is a little bit more intense, and you get a little bit more feel back from the steering, and the suspension is a little bit stiffer. Now, speaking of suspension, we have some pretty poop words. I use my good French there in where I live. So it's not the best. And truthfully, it's a little bit sporty, even in normal and regular mode. I found it really rough for the vehicle that it is. I wish it was a little bit more comfortable, but it's not terrible. It's just, it was a little jarring at times. And especially in sport mode, it increased that jarring feeling when we hit a bump. Even if I tried to avoid it, it happens because our roads are, like I said, quote unquote, a poop. If you know where I'm from, you understand. In terms of cargo space, the Genesis G70 has lots. Honestly, I don't know the stats. You can have a look on Google, because when it comes to this vehicle, are you really concerned about trunk space? Probably not, but it definitely has a decent amount, and there's lots of legroom in the back seat as well, and up front, lots of room. All right, let's get down to what all of you really care about. How does this thing perform? So a nice push button start, as we're used to with all the modern vehicles today. What does it have under the hood? Well, this is equipped with a 3.3 liter twin turbo V6. Now it is all-wheel drive in this specific model, which is great for our winters. I think in the States you can get the front wheel drive. Please don't quote me on it. I did not look through all of the spec sheets. Don't come at me for that. You can look that up. However, this one has all-wheel drive, and it has an 8-speed automatic transmission equipped with the paddle shifters on the steering wheel, which I truthfully didn't use because the transmission on its own was really, really good. Now, the other numbers you're wondering about, I am sure, is the horsepower and the torque. So this puppy is equipped with 368 horsepower, 376 pound-foot of torque. Now, as I said before, it's got intelligent drive mode, so you can switch between eco, normal, comfort, sports, and then you can customize with the suspension, the throttle response, and all that stuff. How does it drive? Really well. Like I said, a bit rough on our roads, but that's not the fault of Genesis, so to speak. It really is our really poopy roads here, but it's good. It handles well. It does feel big. It does feel a bit heavy, but I think that's the all-wheel drive. But all in all, this is a lovely vehicle to pilot and be behind the wheel of. So overall, if you haven't realized by now, I am quite impressed with the Genesis brand, and especially the G70. This is a lovely car inside and out. It drives well, and it really, really does rival the European luxury brands. Look, if you want a luxury car and you want to stand out in your block, because, you know, we all want to make an impression. We want people to turn their heads. We want to be like, hey, what's Joe driving? So if you want that car, get a Genesis, because people won't know what it is. And they're going to look twice. And when they do look twice, they're going to realize that here is a car that's well built, that is good to drive. It's luxurious inside and out. And it's not that much more expensive, if not a little bit less expensive than the European models, but it might do some of the European things better than they do. But don't say you heard it here. All right, well, that's been it for me in this week's Driving with Miranda. Of course, this has been the Genesis G70 3.3T Sport. I hope you guys liked it. As always, if you have questions, comments, concerns, please leave them below. Don't forget to subscribe to my channel.